This podcast contains adult language, descriptions of violence, sexual references, and other possibly offensive themes. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to this episode of Back to the Story, where friends come together to play Dungeons and Dragons. I'll be your DM, Klaus. Let's get started.
When you see God's Rust surrounded by armies,
I'm sorry I couldn't buy us more time.
then know that its dissolution has come near.
I mean, I have great faith in the gods. I think that no matter what happens, they're going to triumph over this.
Then let those who are upon the pinnacle flee to the mountains.
And it's not really our place to judge, but to serve.
And let those who are inside the city depart.
I think if you gave me a few days, I could learn enough deep speech to try.
And let not those who are out in the forest enter it.
I'm an archaeologist. Disrespecting the dead is kind of what I do.
For these are the days of vengeance,
I just want to know what the fuck I am.
to fulfill all that is written.
Do not heed the visions of false prophets. Do not become what they want you to become.
Alright, Scales. It's up to you now. You've got this.
You guys ready? Yeah?
Kind of.
Alright, here we go. Episode 62, Grey Matter. Embershore, Severwind, 14 to 15th First Frost, 3rd Era, year 628. A sea of dust and ash expands into the abandonment, stagnant and devoid of gods. One flies above it, heavy wings disrupting the sea and leaving a rippling cloud of grey-white ash in its wake. The child of God has fur covered in soot and a mask of iron. Screeches are heard in the distance as they chase as they encircle. The masked creature redoubles its effort to stay ahead of them as black arrows fly by its forms from the shadows behind. There's a screech from below and a shadowy form slams into the masked creature from above, sending them spiraling down, wings entangling towards the ashen sea below. The claws of a lion tear through the flesh of the eyeless nightmares, as they in turn sink fangs like daggers into its back and neck. An ashen husk leaps from one of the nightmares onto the masked creature, dropping the bow to drive an axe into the wing. The vision pans back to see swirling shadows surrounding the creature as it falls into the ashen sea. Silence. And a sudden burst of light as the shadows withdraw. Remembrance of the husk of Andoril. Previously, as the Bronze Scales research and await the return of Tasha, they put a stop to some black magic in Embershore and destroyed the soul vault which was to utilize it. In planning to destroy the grey matter aberration within the vault, the Scales teleported beneath Nymunet, hoping to find their magic weapons, but finding only Ball's glaive and a short note from Braun reaching out as an olive branch. Deciding to take on the grey matter then and there, they all moved into the sphere, as Melly took watch outside. Ball smashed open the copper vat as the Scales leapt into action with weapon and spell. The grey matter was powerful, though, releasing a mind-crippling blast of psychic thoughts and memories which disabled or brought down nearly all of the Scales. The end looked dire as the neuronic dendrites reached out, grabbing a number of the Scales and sending further pulses of energy. Ball, however, was able to push past the psychic thoughts, burning and smashing the grey matter with smoldering embers. Severely wounded, but alive, the Scales found rest before returning to Embershore. There, Ellory got some inside info on infiltrating Rothburn Rook. Felix was tied down by Vesper and Amsen. Gross. To drive into the mind of Aeon, learning more of the Vilari, and the ongoing Covenant investigation was followed up upon. We come back to the story here, as Felix and Amsen finish up some research on giants in the Norbel Reserve. The building storm outside is coming to a head. With rain pulsing sideways and wind that sways the trees and rattles the buildings, the streets flow with water. The thunder growls in the sky as a giant hurricane tempest rolls from the sea up the Ember coast. You find yourselves in this private library. Great wooden shelves that reach up 20 feet towards the vaulted ceilings. The lightning illuminates the tall and narrow stained glass windows. If you didn't know any better, this library looks like a converted temple, with shelves where the pews would be. A quiet pair of private covenant watch leaned against the walls of Evolve, gathered naturally around the table. The light of a few dim candles dance around the books and notes spread across it. What would you like to do?
Well, Felix, shall we get started?
I don't see why not. What are you looking into?
I'm hoping to find something on fire giants. Maybe get some answers onto what Ball has been chasing. Decided to follow, I guess. You?
I guess I'm gonna try and find out more about that vision from the other day. Maybe look into that Mr. Walker character, but I don't even know where to start with him.
Yeah, that might be strange. I guess looking at the oldest sources that we can find on Celestials would be a good place to start. That'd be my first guess, at least.
Or maybe something older. And then Felix will just kind of like turn from Amsen and walk away. And we'll go... he's actually going to see if they have anything on the theory of Annulus and the end of the world, and what might have existed before that.
Okay. Make a investigation check. And this sounds like Amsen, you're looking into fire giants and that sort of thing.
Indeed.
Okay, good. Make an investigation check as well.
Ooh, very good. That's a 29.
Ooh,
yeah.
Wow,
I rolled pretty decent too, but I got a ton of luck, so let's use that. Which was slightly better. Excellent. 25. No.
Okay.
26.
26, okay. That makes a huge difference. So as you guys are studying, I presume, was it Ball and Vesper that were heading towards the library?
Yeah.
If I'm remembering right. Okay. So we'll say you guys are coming in as they're doing research. As I'm thinking about the answers to their research and their researching, are you guys doing anything in particular?
If Ball doesn't have anything.
No, I've got nothing to do.
I'm gonna go and see if I can find a section about Embershore's history, and I want to see if I can start looking into Sarnielus and how long he's been here, because I know it's from before the city. But if there's any hints of what he might be, if he's just an elf or if he's something worse.
Make an investigation check.
I'm not good at those. I'm very bad at those. Not with a 5.
Okay. And Ball, speak up if you think of something. And Ellory, did you split off from them and go towards the Adisic Harbor, or did you continue your walking through sideways rain? Everything's closing up.
I split off to go to the Adisic Harbor with the plan to meet up with them later.
Okay. All right, so you're going there. All right, so circling back around with a 29, Felix, looking through. Looks like this reserve is mostly history, and there's a few titles you recognize. Oh, everyone has the history of the fall of Adriagos. Everyone has those 5 volumes. That's common. And there's history of Severwin specific stuff, but it's not heavy on big celestial things. The closest you can find is a small book on poems that does have some semblance of stuff related to the Annulus. You've done your research on this stuff before, and you've seen various cultures and belief systems and myths surrounding this, and they all paint it differently. Some paint it a sky that shatters and falls, and some paint it as hell opens up and the abyss swallows everything. Some paint it as Northil reawakens. This one in particular, these collection of poems, one of them that seems to refer to the Annulus refers to a serpent being released. The serpent being held back by the gods. And when the gods can't hold it back anymore, it comes with a great flood, drowning the world and everything in it. There's not much hard information in this. You get a name, though, for this serpent. Cathrix. I'm not sure if you know the language, but it seems roughly giant-based.
Okay.
You don't get much more than that. Unfortunately, just the library itself doesn't have that much in it. With what you're looking for is a very specific topic. Amsen, for some reason I thought you guys researched fire giants already, and I gave you guys that book. Do you remember that I linked? Did I do that, or did I just imagine that?
No, we got it. I think it was from last session.
Okay, so maybe I gave that to you before you actually did it, but you find that information, which has a lot of stuff, over Vladis, which is the fire giant daughter of Tyrus, who's like the forebearer, as what he's referred to. You get that information as well with a 26. A few kind of more storybooks. You do get that Salt Wind and Ember book I linked. And you know that Tyrus ruled as a god before the dragons, before the war between dragons and giants known as the Song of Stone and Scale. Tyrus has a connection to Titans, these kind of primeval, massive elementals that walked Nor eras ago. But a lot of the specific information you get in that book that I linked. Vesper for Sarnellis, there's really nothing on here. There's a little bit of information on the founding of Embershore. Doesn't even reference that he was here before, though you know that's true. With a 5, it's just there's not records specifically on him in this library.
Okay. I think also Vesper's a little distracted. She's had time to think about things and stuff, and I'm not going to do the thing yet, but she is going to take a seat at one of the tables, I think, and kind of play with her holy symbol and think about how Ball has turned away from Ayin and all the times that she considered doing the same thing, and how she felt when she didn't feel Ayin's presence and how she feels when she does, and kind of comes to realize the reason she stayed is because she believes in the teachings, if nothing else. She believes in mercy and forgiveness and redemption if people choose to seek it. And she will pull out a piece of paper and start to write something.
Okay. And Ball, for some reason, there's this almost magnetic pull with the storm as you kind of watch the wind blow in shapes left and right through the courtyard. You can watch through the large, tall, stained glass windows from this library. It seems to draw you towards it. This kind of deep blue night, dark from the dark clouds above, with the occasional yellow strike of lightning that flashes, illuminating everything before it goes dark once more. Which is what Ellory is pushing through. Turning sideways, having to put your hand over your eyes to be able to see without water shooting into your eyes. You can push your way against the wind towards the harbor. As you move that direction, you can see this swirling storm heading up the coast from the south. Massive, wide, not as big as the one you saw near Gaethalt when you trained in that year in Nymanet, but massive all the same. You can see, once you get closer to the Odysseus harbor, the overturned boat, you can see numerous followers of Voltameri. Dreamer being one of them, who's standing out there doing some sort of prayer, hands opened. They have the serpents kind of laid out, collecting bowls of salt and water. What do you do?
Sorry. So, where is Stormdreamer doing this?
So she's outside of the ship area. She's kind of standing on that short cliff that kind of juts out a little bit above the water. It's maybe only 20 feet above the water. It's where Vesper and Ball were resurrected those years ago.
Okay. So, before I go over there, I seem to remember something about there being an offering bowl somewhere.
There's a shrine inside the overturned temple.
Okay, so I'm going to go there first. And, so what color is the sea in this area? Is it more bluish or more greenish?
It's probably dark, deep blue, especially now. You can see it's underlit by the numerous emberstones that glow orange and yellow beneath it.
So, first thing I will do is I will take out the sapphire eye that I pried off the wall the other day, and I will put that into the offering bowl. And then I will go out to where Stormdreamer is.
Okay. At this point, you're soaked, and anyone that's outside is soaked.
Mm-hmm.
All the way to the core through your clothes. And Stormdreamer is standing, kind of hands aloft, eyes closed. Next to, there's this spire-like stone. It's almost like a lightning rod, nearly, of stone that reaches up, somewhat jagged and spiraling, similar to a stalactite or mite, whichever one it is. She doesn't notice you. It's loud through the wind, and she doesn't hear you approach.
How many other people are around?
There's maybe 5 total outside. There's maybe 3 of them are inside. There's Stormdreamer, and then maybe 1 or 2 that are actually outside on this cliff. The rest are under the ship.
Do I know anything about what Stormdreamer is doing right now specifically?
You don't know specifically if she's doing any ritual, but it seems like she's worshiping, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Or praying.
Well, my aim in coming here was in part to talk to her about a lot of the stuff that has happened in the last 2 years, but under the circumstances, I think what I want to do for now is to just, I guess, join in prayer of my own.
Okay. What does that look like as you're doing this? As the thunder rumbles and lightning cracks, wind and sheets slam against you with the wind.
I think, since I don't know if Stormdreamer is doing like a specific ritual right now, what I would do is kind of put down my things inside, whatever I brought with me, and go out and kind of stand behind where Stormdreamer is. Actually, what I'll do is, instead of holding the locket, I will take the lodestone out and hold that in one hand and just sort of tilt my face up into the rain and sort of absorb the feeling of it. The wind, okay. The rain, the sound of the storm.
Okay. As you take out the lodestone, it's spinning in all directions. Whatever storm is coming, it's interfering with it. But you tilt your head back and let the rain wash over you. It's cold, but it almost wakes you up, makes you feel alive. Your chest rumbles whenever the thunder does. Your eyes, even closed, flash white whenever the yellow lightning strikes. The wind blows your hair back, whipping what you have on from side to side, as you just sort of embrace this feeling, trying to become one with the storm. Give me a straight wisdom check.
Okay. That's a 16.
Okay. How long do you do this?
That is a good question.
Do you want me to come back to you on that?
Yeah, I think come back to me.
All right. So circling back around to Ball. That storm going on outside the window has almost drawn you towards it, like dark night. And there's a crack of lightning that illuminates everything in that strange way where you get night blindness after bright light comes and everything goes dark. And you almost get sensual or sensational deprivation when it does so. No light. Even the sounds of the rumbling storm seem distant. It's a deep blue night. As the senses begin to return, just the breathing, quick footfalls of your mother and father, the scent of the forest around you, thunderous rumbling in the distance, but the growls are closer. Like lightning, yellow eyes dart through the shadows just beyond the trees. They come with dark, thick furs and gnashing teeth. Your protectors draw their weapons against the wolves. The first 3 lunge and the first 3 fall just as the rain does. The thundering is louder now, like 2 mountains grinding against each other in the sky. The wolves circle, going for your father, but your mother fights them, her axe in one hand, her child in the other. The wolves' fur matted from the rain, their growls drowned out by the rising storm. A snarling wolf steps out, lunges past your father and onto your mother's throat. Red blood spatters, but an axe to its temple kills it. Back to back, your mother and your father hold them off as your father's spears are thrust timed with the stark yellow lightning which illuminates your pending doom. But now 3 tear towards your mother's leg. Dragging her off, she drops her axe, reaching for you, but isn't quick enough. The largest has pinned your father down as the pack descends upon your mother, upon your father, and upon you. As a child, your cries fall upon ears deafened by the thunder, upon eyes blinded by yellow lightning. A thunderous roar from the sky shakes the ground, rattles the trees. You feel it in your chest, and they can too, as for a moment the fight pauses. And in that stillness you watch, as if a river, flowing down blue and white energy, emanating from the black clouds above, and lightning strikes, and all goes white. You see someone, leaping as if from the sky. Over 20 feet tall, a woman, pale blue skin, holding a bow, firing arrows the size of javelins. She has stark, white, wild hair flowing in the wind of the storm. As she kills the wolves, dropping to the ground, pulling out a jagged claymore, slicing them down. She takes the child and walks with it, carrying it, the baby, to a smoking mountain in the distance. The vision shifts into the heart of that mountain. Lava flows and pools illuminate the rocky walls in red heat. You hear chanting, reverberating, guttural drums. Udontra jovandecor, You see in a chamber giants of ember, forming a line between the storm giant female holding the baby, and on the other side an obsidian rune stone tall rising out of a lava pool. Runes upon the stone burn like angry coals as the storm giant of stark white hair carries the child and hands it to a fire giant with eyes burning ember. The chanting reverberates as Ember Eyes carries the child wading into the lava, holding the child up towards the obsidian runestone as the runes upon the stone burn hot as the marks burn upon the chest of the child. The moment freezes. It doesn't stop. It seems to last forever. The chanting doesn't go silent, but it swells and the note is held. Your chest burns perpetually, and your vision shifts. And suddenly you're there in your own form, your own body, watching this scene frozen in time, lasting forever. And you hear a voice. Do you know why I show this to you? You turn and you see, standing in front of the storm giant is another storm giant, female. Looks like the one standing behind her. Maybe 20 years older, maybe in her 40s, it's hard to tell. With her hair is no longer stark white, but gray white. I show you this so you'll remember who you are. They are searching for you. They are searching for you because you've seen it too. The serpent. They come for you. And the mantle will break. Its fractures already strained. She looks into your eyes as she's walking towards you, saying this. Remember who you are, last son of Vladis. And as she speaks that name, there's a strike of lightning and thunder cracking as your vision kind of comes to and you're staring out the window.
I guess am I free to act at this point?
Yeah, dude.
Does that name ring a bell? It's like who Vladis is?
It feels familiar, but you can't pinpoint why.
We're still at or near the library, if I'm not mistaken, or did we...
You're still in the library. Yeah, Felix, Vesper, and Amsen are all doing research. Vesper has stopped to write some things down on the table.
And Vladis would have been one of the names in the prophecy that Felix read that we think is about you.
Okay, so I think Ball will just kind of immediately start going to try to do some research on the name Vladis while he kind of tries to recall what the prophecy said about Vladis. Just kind of, since everyone's busy and Ball was just kind of staring out the window, now Ball's got something to do, so he's going to try to read up on it. And then I am going to frantically look for this prophecy.
God, almost linked literally all of the things I own.
Do I see Ball looking around for stuff?
I mean, probably. Unless he's trying to be sneaky, but I doubt it.
I imagine Ball moving around a library is not the most quiet thing in the world.
Yeah, again, so Ball can't really be seen near anyway.
I guess after Amsen is, nearing the end of his research, he'll go up to Ball and be like, "Hey, Ball, do you need help looking for something?"
Yes, I want to find some more information about a specific person. I think it is a giant.
Okay. Do you have any other information? Just giant?
His name is Vladis. Well, yeah, his or her, its name is Vladis. It is familiar. I think Felix spoke of it in the prophecies.
That's funny you mentioned Vladis, and he'll look over back to the table that he's sitting at. I may have the book that you want, coincidentally. Here, come on, I'll show you.
Thank you.
And, Amsen will show him this book about how Vladis was the fourth-born daughter of Tyrus, a giant god. Seemed to be some sort of prophetic god or something like that. Basically, she had several children that killed a dragon that she failed to kill, and they buried the weapons that they used to kill the dragon. They were a claymore of omens, an axe of black ice, and a crown for Vladis called Avalmer, as the Anvil of Copt. I think that's how you pronounce that. And then out of the scales, they made another crown from the spoils of the dragon. So Vladis is the daughter of one of the giant gods, one of the old ones, not the ones that we now worship.
I think that she may know me somehow.
Fortunately, I don't know very much about this Vladis.
Do you know where we can find her?
For her specifically, I don't know. I don't even know if she's still alive. I know that she was a mortal at one point. She might be a god now, but I'm not sure.
What about these weapons? Do you know where these dragons were fought? Where these weapons may be found?
These, the ones in this book, I'm not sure. In this book, it doesn't say where they are. Perhaps we can find them, though. The axe of black ice makes me think of Kolb's axe, but that's a long stretch and quite a coincidence. Clearly it was important enough to fight over it.
I think I will spend our time here looking for where I can find her. Or something that can help me find her. Thank you for your help, Amsen.
I can help you find it. I can help you look.
You see Ball kind of nods, kind of accepting help.
Oh, it says the mountain pass. Which mountain pass is this? Holds the monuments to the weapons rest here. For worthy wielder, to gain the ores and blessing against the enemies of tyrants. Which mountain is this?
So Ball and Amsen will just kind of continue studying, going over the notes together.
George, I heard a breathe in.
Oh, I was just going to say that if it's easy enough for Felix to walk over at that point, he can kind of join in. Well, this library is useless. I've read 57 books, and only one of them had any minor information, and it seems to be poetry, which is my favorite. Anyway, I couldn't find much, but legends of the end of the world may be sky is falling, open up to the abyss, giant snake that will eat the world, something called Cathrix. You guys have any luck?
Hopping back, Ellory, real quick, how long do you stay out there? And do you go back to the library after?
So I've been thinking about this. I think one thing that I'm going to do first, I'm kind of keeping a bit of an eye on Stormdreamer to see if she stops what she's doing at any point. But at some point during this, I would like to... This may sound a little weird, but I would like to cast Detect Evil and Good while I'm standing there.
Okay.
Because there have been so many times, especially recently, where it has been difficult for Ellory to interpret, I guess, or to judge what she sees and who she meets. And I think she's looking for some insight to give her something to compare against by
okay, are you talking
casting
about
this.
Stormdreamer?
No, by casting this in a
Just
place
in
that she knows is holy.
Okay. Doing this, you don't get any entity. This is not a desecrated place. I'll say because you were in Nymanet for so long, you probably had a feeling of what consecration felt like. This isn't quite to that level, but it does have some sort of significance. Beyond that, I'll say you also get a strange feeling from the storm. It's not just a natural storm.
Okay.
Who knows if all the storms are like that, but this is the first time you've noticed a storm. This storm is, there's something magical in nature there.
Okay. So, since I've been here, is there any sign of Stormdreamer moving from where she is?
For the most part, she's staying outside. I mean, she would eventually notice you're there and wouldn't invite you to kind of join in, but it seems like you already are, with your head tilted back. But she wouldn't interfere with you.
So I think after a while, I would speak to her. Stormdreamer, is there any chance that we could speak? If not now, then soon?
Speak, yes. Of what? Of the storm? Of what's to come?
Well, that wasn't what I had in mind at first, but I think, yes. I would like to tell you about the things that have passed since I left. Since I went to Nymanet.
Okay. You can do this. Can it wait after the storm passes?
Do you know how long the storm will last?
I cannot predict that.
I think it can wait a little bit, but I'm not sure how long. I don't know how long that I will be in the city before I have to continue on.
She kind of meets your gaze and just tries to see what it is you're holding back. Speak or don't speak. This is passion. This is not holding back, as she's gesturing towards the storm.
There are things coming that I'm involved in that, well, if I don't get this right, that may lead to the end of the world. my friends and I have gotten wrapped up in things that are bigger than myself.
We've all done that from time to time.
And I'm not... I'm not sure what Voltimeri wants of me.
To be bold, to be brave, to have passion, to do and say and stand up for what you believe in. Freedom. Unbridled freedom. Answering to no one. Does this storm ask for counsel before it comes along the shore? Does it question its existence? Does it apologize for its destruction? Yes, it is terrifying. It's also beautiful.
It is.
This is Voltimeri. Find me after the storm clears, and if it can't wait, come to me anyway.
I will.
Enjoy the storm.
I smile when she says that.
She returns it. And we'll kind of, unless there's something more, we'll kind of go back into her crazy worshipping of a hurricane that's coming towards the city. It looks like it's going to skirt the city, probably, but it's going to get pretty dang close.
I look down at the mark on my hand and then back up at the storm. And then I close my hand into a fist before I turn to go meet up with my friends.
Okay. You push through the storm back towards the tower. It takes a minute to talk through them, getting you in. Someone probably has to come and get you, but you can eventually, for the sake of time, get back into the library, and you're all gathered at the same spot once more.
I actually had something I wanted to do before we all got back together. Kind of while I'm still off by myself in another section of the library. Finish what I'm writing. I've got a couple things written out on a sheet of paper. And I would like to cast Sending. And I would like to cast Sending to Braun. And say, you abandoned us. You met my eye and told them to kill me. You tried to kill us. What could you possibly say for yourself?
There's a few moments of silence before you eventually hear a response.
You are not wrong to be angry. And what you say is not a lie. We were, or maybe enemies trying to work together. I had no choice. But we do now. I am not with the wheel anymore.
I'm trying to see, because I had everything counted out, but now I'm curious. Definitely casting it again. And I'll say, then who are you with? You lied to us, to your people, depending on whose mercy you're at. What kind of man are you when you're not trying to save yourself?
I am trying to save everything. I will align with who I have to do this.
Fuck it, alright. Third level spell. Who are you with, Braun? The others don't know I'm doing this. They don't care what you have to say. Make your case or you'll never see us again.
I want the Felnor brought into the life once more. I want this to happen with no war, with no deaths. I want to find a way to do this before the wheel strikes. They are coming. We haven't much time.
I'm not sure how many words he's used, but there'll be a moment and then
more than
words will come
25.
to you. Yeah, he'll cast himself. He knows that spell.
If You want the same. We will have to work together, despite our history, if we are going to prevent divine war. I'm in the Holy City. Where are you? And you can respond to this message.
Far from there. Might return soon, though. Why should we trust you again? We've no reason to. This is exactly what you said the last time.
Trust me, because I do not have to answer to the will or to anyone anymore. I am one man trying against forces beyond me. This isn't the will or the descendants. This is just me. Just Braun. Trying to bring light to a fallen world.
You know I believe in redemption. I'll speak with the others. It's not my judgment alone to cast. Vesper will sit there for a moment and then realize that the boys have all gathered to look over the same stuff, and we'll go and elbow into that conversation.
Okay. And not long after, Ellory comes in, soaking wet.
All right, good. Everybody's here. Good. We can fill everybody in and go over notes. Felix, what did you find again?
Some poems about the destruction of the world. Most interesting is a theory that it will be devoured by a giant serpent that the gods hold back, named Cathrix.
Interesting. Giant serpents.
And I found something on giants. Paul said that he was looking for something about Vladis, which we happened to also find. Basically, she was the daughter of Tyrus, Ordner of Craftwork, Cinder Veined. Those are the titles that she has. Basically, Tyrus fulfilled these challenges, and then she tried to do them herself, failed, but was gifted the things that she hunted for, essentially, made children from them, from salt, from wind and cold that she was awarded from these different trials. And then the children fulfilled the only trial that she could not complete, which was the killing of a dragon. And that they used these weapons, which are buried in the spine of the world somewhere. And then they used the spoils from the dragon to create their own crown in tribute to Vladis. The three weapons were a claymore, called the Claymore of Omenclave. Then there was an axe of black ice, which was called Flirisin. I think that's how you say that one. And then there was Avalma, the Anvil of Kot, which was a crown. And I kind of look at Paul. I'm not saying it's the same one, but it might be a representation. The original might still be buried in the mountains.
I would like to try to find it when we finish here.
Well, and the prophecy that spoke of the son of Vladis said, the lost son will return home wearing the ruby crown. Lend him your hammer and make for him an Aegis of Ember. So, I mean, it seems to me like heading up to try and find the giants may be our best path, no matter what. Ball, why were you looking up Vladis?
I had another one of those visions in the storm. I think that I should go there, try to find more about Vladis. Maybe meet her familiarity.
Speaking of this storm, there's something about it that's not entirely natural. I felt something about it. I'm not exactly sure what it is, though.
Does Ball review the vision that he had with us?
Yeah, I'm happy to. I think if you guys press, Ball's not going to particularly hide it.
Well, the storm giant, if I understand giant taxonomy properly, are possibly the most powerful giants. It may be using the storm to communicate.
Ball did mention everything from his vision, right? They said they were looking for you. Do you think this is how they're doing it with the storm?
Paul just kind of shrugged.
Who is they?
If the storm giant was claiming someone else was looking for Ball, I wouldn't think the storm would be how they're looking. The someone else is probably, if I had to take a guess, it would be fire giants? I mean, that would explain Ball's eccentricities. Either way, the giants seem to be key. It mentioned a serpent, right? What if it's the serpent from this poem? Cathrix is a giant word.
It means nothing. Right, Paul? I translated that right, didn't I?
Is that correct, Plus?
Yeah. Let me pull out my giant language.
According to the chat and our DM's little notes there.
We'll translate giant to English.
So, we have a direction. When do we leave?
Well, is all of our business wrapped up here? Or do we have anything else left to do?
Yeah, I think we have a little bit more to do. Or I do, at least.
Felix will just kind of sink into his chair and lay his face on the desk.
Oh, did you find out how the hunt's going for the rest of the fugitives?
Oh, right. Yeah. Just about everyone has been rounded up except a pair of twins. One of them got away. The bartender, whose name we cannot recall. Someone else, Blue-Eyed Charlie, and the Basilisk.
I'm not really worried about most of them. Blue-Eyed Charlie would be a concern, but he's probably outside of the city.
The only ones that I am particularly worried about, personally, are the ones that were codenamed. Those seemed like all the most dangerous people.
Surely we can leave some of it to the guards. I mean, this is what they're supposed to do. You can't rely on an outside individual or party all the time. They can't be that useless.
Oh, I don't know about useless. Corrupt, but not useless.
I just have concerns about the Basilisk. About, I don't know, I want to say 9-ish years ago, when we were still scoping out the location for Stonehill Abbey, a bandit called the Basilisk attacked. I was told to run back into town, but Varys, my father, was petrified. And when we brought him back to the shop, we had a vial of basilisk blood to cure him, but I dropped some of it, and that's why his arm has been petrified ever since, and I'd like to see him brought in. I'd like to fix my mistake.
Bringing him in doesn't bring your father's arm back, and while I appreciate the sentiment, it is sentimental. I will do whatever it is you all need to do to be able to leave this place, but at a certain point, we are on a clock, and when those bells start ringing, we have to do what we have to do, prepared or not. So, I'm going to let you all decide what you want to do. You know how to reach me. I will find whoever you need to find, murder whoever you need to murder, but can we please finish up with the petty drama? And Felix will leave.
So I take it he's not going to be very happy to hear about what I want to do.
What do you want to do, Ellory?
I look around us. How close are the nearest guards?
30 feet away.
So I will lower my voice. And are they watching us directly?
Amsen will
keeping
get
an eye
out.
on you, but they're not like on you.
Amsen will get out a quill and paper and just hand it to Ellory. Sometimes simple things are the solutions.
Yeah. So Ellory will write down, I'm not happy about handing over a bunch of people to be tortured to death by Sarnellis, and I want to do something about that before we go.
Vesper will look at Ellory and draw a finger across her throat in the universal "should we kill him" symbol.
Look, I talked to Mogther. He has some useful info. If you are willing to help me with that.
I am.
I'm behind you all the way, Ellory.
I look up at Ball.
Ball just nods.
Well, I have some ideas about it, but I think we should talk about that back at the sale.
Agreed. And maybe put the plan into motion tomorrow?
Well, let's see what we need.
Yeah. I did something you're probably all not going to be happy about, so I need y'all to be really cool for a second.
Vesper.
So our dear buddy Braun is no longer working with the Will. He's on his own, and is hoping we can help him out.
Well, I imagine the Will probably don't like him very much right now anyways, so that's understandable.
He's naming it.
Do you actually trust anything that fucker says?
Of course not, but he's got all of our shit. He says he's in the Holy City, and we know... Well, fuck, from what he said, we've been told that, they can't really go into our world and stay here undetected for long. Especially not in groups. But one person, perhaps. He says, and again, entire mountain of salt, but he says he just wants to save his home and ours. No war, no deaths, no bloodshed, just bringing these people back into the light. But he says he's working alone, solo, so hopefully there's nothing to fear if we do meet with him when we go back.
I think right now we've got a lot of time to think about it. I don't think we have to worry about him too much for at least a while, if he's only working alone.
Alright. He said, of course, the Will is coming soon, so as we wrap everything up as quickly as we can, that's something to keep in mind when we get back there.
How are we getting back there? Are we going to sail and then walk another 2 months?
No, there's got to be a way. If we don't do anything tonight, I can talk to someone else in the city and see if there's another teleportation circle that's, official. Maybe we can get Melly to help us with that. Or someone at least.
Hopefully.
So what are we doing? Sarnellis, Basilisk, both before we go? Chase down Ball's heritage?
We kill Sarnellis. That's the most important. It's the biggest effect on the city. Like Felix said, the Covenant should be able to take care of the Basilisk. It's not as important.
I will take Vesper's hand and give it a squeeze. Let's go figure out how we're going to do this.
So to the copper sail?
Yes. Should we try and call Felix back?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I can do that.
I don't know exactly what he can do that would be able to help with this.
He's a powerful, intelligent person. I'm sure he can figure something out.
Yeah, it's just I don't know what those things are. So it would help to have him in on the planning.
All right. I'll touch the pouch and just be like to Felix, we've decided we have one person to take care of, and that's it. We're meeting at the copper sail to talk it out.
I'm already there. I'm very wet. Just get over here.
He's already at the copper sail, apparently, so let's go.
Huh. And we go.
Alright, so you guys push through the storm again. Now all of you are soaking wet, but eventually make it over there. The shutters for the windows have been closed, and the copper sail is closed. Mogther let Felix in and opens the door to let you guys in, but otherwise it is closed.
And Felix is already set up with a bottle of wine and looks like he is scroll making and does not look up as you walk in. He waves idly.
Seeing how drowned Vesper looks, I am going to go grab towels or blankets or something to try and dry her off. Dry all of us off, I guess. And then I will go to Mogther. So, you said you had some maps or drawings that might be useful for us?
I have a couple of things. Have a seat, bring a bottle, and a letter.
Did he say a letter?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys settle in, dry off with some towels. Mother comes back downstairs and hands you a little folded piece of paper, parchment. You open it up and you see some rough notes written in thieves' cant. It looks like it's mostly, it reads as if it's directions to get somewhere, but with code words kind of exchanged to let you know what's actually going on. And there's some diagrams on it as well. It is roughly drawn, pretty shoddy, but it gives you a rough idea. Basically, it depicts Warehouse 3, supplies are loaded up under Covenant guard. A lot of them, or a good amount, 5 or 6, is taken into Rothburn Rook, into the courtyard, where it's loaded into one of a pulley system and lowered down into a supply chamber. Supply chamber connects to the dungeons so that prisoners can be fed and such too. But there's a security system with 2 guards in it, and levers have to be pulled at the same time to be able to open those gates. So there's no lock.
Do we know how far down the dungeons are underground?
It doesn't give you an estimate.
From my memory of going down there, how deep did it seem to be?
Roll an intelligence check. It's been a while.
Oh, great. Okay.
Can I inspire Ellory?
I'm not sure it's gonna help, because I rolled a 5, but...
Oh, it's too late now, so... Alright, rip.
You can't remember. It was deep. But, I mean, you only went up the stairs, down one time, and up another time. You were just down there for 8 months, so you're not sure. It's deep, but no idea.
Well... looking at the diagram, and based on my memory, where were stairs? Or, like, I know there's that sort of double gate system. Were there stairs before that or after that? When
there were spiral staircases down.
I mean, which side of that double gate system were the stairs?
North.
Okay.
I'll say this, the diagram, reading over it isn't incredibly useful. What is useful is times when supplies are picked up from the warehouse. So that would be the possible end. The diagram itself is just a very rough layout.
So what's our plan to get everybody in?
Well, Mogther has a contact who might be able to smuggle somebody in with supplies. So my thinking is that we need to have one person go in this way with everybody else hiding in the sphere. And...
invisible, and do we think we can get Miss Forresters to maybe disguise all of us so none of the prisoners or anyone else can recognize us once we're in?
That would be ideal if she's willing to do that for us. I'm more worried about getting out than I am about getting in. Because I think, depending on which one of us goes in and carries the sphere, we can probably, I think, use Dimension Door to get down into the dungeon itself. But then we have to be quiet enough to not draw the attention of the entire Covenant, and then get back out.
I can get us in and out. I can keep myself invisible, and I have a few teleports, so that's that.
So do you want to be the one carrying the sphere that we're all hiding in?
I think that'd be the best. If anything goes really bad, I could probably teleport out.
Okay.
Well, would you be able to do this to get down there without having seen it before?
With this map, I don't know how useful it is. Sorry, Mogtha, but possibly.
Doesn't Millie have that cape that lets her cast the same teleportation spell you have, Amsen? What if we borrowed it from her?
That's what I was thinking, because I've been down there, so I know what it looks like.
Now, Ellory, will you be alright going down there? We'll be in your pocket, but...
That is a good question. I know that I'm stronger now than I was when I first got out. I think I can handle it.
If anything goes really bad, I can come out of the orb, grab you, and teleport us out.
So, how do we get everybody out?
Get back in the ball.
Hopefully.
Which takes a minute.
What if we cast silence between us and where the guards are stationed?
That would help. It would give us more time.
I can bar some doors, even if they have keys.
I have a door left, a door patch. I have grease. I can cast grease somewhere. I don't know how helpful that would be.
We still have those caltrops that Ball bought. That might help with slowing people down. If need be.
Well, it's a sound enough plan. When do we do this?
Klaus, based on my memory, did Sarnellis have a particular routine?
Sort of. His because he didn't need to sleep as much, or didn't sleep at all, his hours were very different from yours. Didn't really have a routine, per se. It was something different each day, dealing with people.
And what times do I have for supply drop-offs?
So it looks like in 2 days.
Okay. Well, there's a supply drop-off in 2 days. I certainly don't think we want to wait any longer than that.
Certainly not. Out of curiosity, do the diagrams show any vents or things like that, even if they're just small?
Didn't show any vents on there. There might be some sort of ventilation system since it's deep, but it doesn't show them on the rough diagram.
Ellory, do you remember any kind of ventilation system?
DM, do I remember any kind of ventilation system?
Not in particular, no.
Not really. So, a couple things that you should keep in mind for us to prepare for. I know that Sarnellis has magic, and he's very good at hurting people with it. He also keeps undead servants that he raises from the people that he executes. Do I have a sense of, did he tend to have a particular number at any given time, or did it vary?
It varied.
What was the most that I saw?
You mostly heard. So in the dungeon, there's an upper floor and a lower floor.
Okay.
So most of what he was doing was at the floor below. You imagine for people with more serious crimes. But you wouldn't guess more than 3 at a time.
Okay. So he sometimes had a few at a time. He also has his pet, but he tended to keep a cover over that, so I'm not sure that's something we have to worry about.
You don't think we're going to have to worry about his pet when we try and kill him?
Not if it has the cover over it.
It's fine. I've broken out of several prisons and killed hundreds of undead, so I'm sure we'll get through it.
Yeah, I'm really not worried about the undead.
Me neither.
Probably should be a little more worried, but it's something we can deal with. I've killed a whole civilization of undead. It's fine.
You killed the whole civilization?
Of undead, accidentally, maybe. We'll talk later.
Felix twitches slightly, but doesn't press.
So, we have a handful of undead, very likely. His pet, possibly. And himself and his magic.
What sort of spells did you see him cast in Ellory? Any elements, or...?
I remember fire. I mean, he liked destructive magic.
Well, we have to assume he's a necromancer for his penchant for undead. So, necrotic energy is probably likely as well.
And what concerns me is that I know that he's old. He was here before Embershore was founded. He was here when Embershore was founded.
Well, if he's one of my people, then his natural death could be hundreds of years from now, even if he was around when Embershore was around.
And
I understand your need to kill him.
He once protected the refugees of Mortham from the Volgriths when they fled here.
So he's powerful, we assume.
So, when we go in, we want to do whatever we can to mitigate what he can do.
Alright. Ball, can you still harness radiant energy in your attacks, or is it just fire now?
Klaus, I think we decided that it was fire flavored, but it was still... I don't know what we decided.
No, that sounds like a good call, for now at least. That it's flavored with fire, but maybe it acts as radiant mechanically.
Okay, and then I guess we can clarify on the break, because that mantle thing, we still have that thing where I could use sorcery points to make it radiant damage. So Ball's answer will be, I think I should be able to do some.
Alright. Power of the gods is pretty effective against the undead, so...
Psychic, however, is not. Vesper, if you don't mind, I might need my dagger enchantment back.
Alright.
And actually, Ellory, you picked up recently a dagger with some interesting properties. Do you think I could borrow it?
I suppose.
I can also provide resistance to one person. I'll lose my repulsion shield, but if we are worried about a particular type of energy, I can guard someone from it.
Well, one thing I'm thinking is that if Amsen is keeping silence up to prevent the guards from coming down, then we need to keep him from getting hit as much as possible.
I can help with that. If he stays on the defensive, I can keep a sanctuary around him. I'll help a little.
If we have a couple of days, we might want to take a look around town, see if we have any, decent equipment lying around, maybe something magical.
And we have a fuck ton of money now.
Exactly.
Well, let's do all we can to prepare in the next couple of days. And go murder a community leader.
Not quite what I would call him, but sure.
Amsen, darling, sorry, before we go, do you know when Embershore was founded? How long ago?
Not to be, exactly like everybody else, but Klaus does. Amsen know when Embershore was founded?
Yeah, I'm not going to make you roll for it. The rest, everyone probably knows it's like 250 to 300. Amsen, with your history, you probably know it's 276 years ago.
276 years ago, well within the lifespan of and I point to Felix, of...
That makes me feel so much better, thank you.
He's probably just an older one.
He certainly bragged about being old often enough.
For all we know, he's middle-aged. Unfortunately, the longevity of my people means that the ones that are capable of atrocities get to do them for forever. I'm not keen on killing my problems away, but it's one of the few ways to get rid of one of my people.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, this one is a piece of shit.
I don't really feel.
I raise an eyebrow at that.
Well, let's get prepared then. We've got a little bit of time.
We are gonna go on a break basically now, but to kind of rush through the time thing, or for the sake of time, we'll say Mogthur basically says he'll get in touch with the contact and set up the time for you to meet at the warehouse so that you can get someone into a crate of rice or something. Is there anything in those 2 days or so that you want to do to prep? You can get Millie's cloak if you need it, or any stuff like that. We'll probably just breeze through it for the sake of time.
Do you want us to list any items that we would like to try to buy at this moment? Or
sure, or if it's mundane, you can probably get it.
Okay.
We will officially go to a break because shopping is shockingly boring, and we will come back soon.
Next time on Back to the Story.
As Ball, you try to step out, moving into the flames. It won't pass through.
Well, shit.
What are you doing here?
Shit.
I'll have you transferred to a cell. I'm sure they'll want to question you further. The bottom cell.
For part 2 of this episode of Back to the Story, you can find it on SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you prefer to get your podcasts. We also have a YouTube channel called Back to the Story, an actual play podcast. If you'd like to support the show, feel free to buy us a coffee at ko-fi.com/backtothestory.